everyone. Welcome to Next Level Humanity Masters Unplugged here. Today, we're going to talk about love, power, and patterns, the psychology of and physiology of modern relationships. Why do we keep choosing the same kind of love even when it hurts? And why do successful, intelligent people still struggle in relationships? I know this is a problem for most women in the finance world. And what if the problem isn't love, but the patterns we have been choosing unconsciously? Today, I have Chengi Tobun here, founder of Black Swan Relationship Academy. Welcome, welcome. My other half,
Yes.
she's
Twin
another,
flame.
she's another reflection of me. And
Oh,
welcome. She's a
thank
sister.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you
Great to
so
have you
much.
here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about attraction, emotional
Yes.
patterns, and
Yes.
what it really takes
Yes.
to build a relationship that works and that has meaning and that
Yes.
is,
Yes.
that is deep.
Yes.
Welcome. And you
Thank
have worked
you.
with so many people in relationships. You have so many experience on
Yes.
love and relationships. What's the biggest misconception people have about love and relationships?
That love and relationships are one and the same thing, right?
That's even new for me. Love and relationships. Now that I got to think of it, love and
Yeah.
relationships are two different things.
Yeah, we can be in
Yeah.
relationship with people we don't love and love people we're not in a relationship with.
Yeah, one is passion, the other
Yeah.
one is marriage.
Yes. Like I was saying before we started recording, I was in love with you, but I wasn't in a relationship yet, right? But
Yeah.
I met you and I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It felt like I was sort of watching a version of myself and I was so excited. I was like taking it all in. I hated to leave. So you can love somebody. Love is so, it's its own thing. It's its own energy and it vibrates on its own frequency and it attaches to who it attaches to.
Instant.
And yeah, we can love people who are horrible. We can love people that are terrible. Love is what it is. It's its own thing, right? Relationship is about how we regulate together, what we can build together,
Yeah,
what's
I
the
love it.
purpose, the joining of purpose of vision. It's more. And relationship is something that we can create. We can be an architect of a relationship. And that relationship doesn't have to have love. It would be great.
Yeah.
When it comes to romantic love, right? We want that love because it makes relationship easier to do. But even that frequency of love won't always remain, right, in a relationship. It comes, it's a grounded energy, but sometimes anger and woundedness can happen in a relationship, but a relationship can still function if it's built on the right foundations, if that makes sense.
I love it.
So
I
yeah,
love it.
I think.
Would it be wise to say we can love anyone, but we don't have to be in a relationship with
That's
the people
right.
we love?
That's right.
That's
because
right. We can love anyone, especially women.
Yes.
We have the capacity to love anyone.
Absolutely.
And you can just
Absolutely.
love someone on the street and
Yes.
it's an event, but we don't have to be in a relationship.
We
I
don't.
think learning to choose who you're gonna relate with, who you're gonna stay with.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's the mistake, especially
Absolutely.
what we make when we're young.
Yes.
Like I thought I had to be in a relationship with
everyone
men
you
I loved.
loved.
No.
Exactly.
Wow, that's
absolutely. Even in
powerful.
friendships, I've got a
Yes.
lot of friends that I
Yeah.
love but had to discontinue relationship with.
I love it. Just
Right.
detaching love
Yeah.
and relationships,
Yeah.
and
The
and
love
I
is
think
always
that's your
there.
secret formula.
Yeah. Yes, that's my secret formula. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. That's just so powerful.
Thank
Even
you.
this bit, it's like so powerful. Yeah.
Thank you.
And do you think that's why people who are highly successful in life feel completely lost when it comes to relationships, or are there other reasons when? Because I see a lot of women, especially I don't know why, in the business and finance world, who are independent and powerful, who have built wealth and are doing amazing in the business world, but having a hard time building relationships and staying in relationships. What are the reasons?
I think that another piece to love is that many of us don't actually know what the feeling of love is. And it's usually rooted in safety when it comes to relationships. And it's rooted in that passion, but in that safety, that groundedness. And a lot of us have kind of taken our formula from Love from Hollywood, right? It's the
Yeah.
boy meets girl, and it's a whirlwind, and it's, oh my God,
Pink.
exactly,
Pink.
exactly. And a lot of that is really love at first sight. That passion actually is a signal of danger. So when we have love at first sight, it's a hormone called norepinephrine, and it goes through the body and it excites us, but
It's
it's
a
actually
misconception. It's
yeah,
illusion.
exactly. So that heightened, euphoric, oh my God, that feeling, we're chasing that feeling when it comes to meeting somebody. We don't actually realize that if I pursue more of a grounded passion, a warmth of safety with somebody, that passion can grow in us as women. It can start to flare up, right, with more exposure, and that's more lasting when it comes to relationships. So what happens is, especially women that are intellectual and intelligent, we take our focus and we put it in our careers. We want to make that money. We want to stabilize ourselves. A lot of that need for success in the way that we pursue it, in that masculine way that you were talking about at your event, is out of a woundedness, right? We want to feel safe and create that safety for ourselves because we feel so unsafe in the world. And so we think that getting love is the same formula, that we have to go for love. But when we're in our feminine, we're attracted and we select. That's the beauty. So most women don't actually attract because they're in their masculine so much.
What I hear from you is that because women who are highly successful, they get used to going after things and just doing too much. Maybe they're trying to go after love as well, because that's what's taught, to us in the business world when building wealth. Like, go and grab, and and even today, like I had two more podcast recordings, and we were talking about like what would be the message for young women in the finance world, or young women or entrepreneurs, and the message would be go out there and speak up and be loud, and all speak out loud, because
Right.
men do that, and
Yes.
women are, it's kind of like it's a need. You need to
Right.
speak up
Right.
to succeed in the business
Right.
world. But
Right.
in relationships and love, if we keep on doing that exact same thing,
Yes.
it doesn't work,
It
because the feminine
doesn't.
energy is the silent and like absorbing and waiting,
and it's magnetic.
and I can tell it's
Yeah,
tough
it is.
for those. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you shift between.
You have and it's an art, and it can be taught, and it can be you can be mentored into it. It's something that I had to learn. I had to learn it, and that's why when you've had to learn it, it's easier to teach it, because you know what it's like. But understanding that when you're truly in your feminine and grounded in your femininity, there's a presence you carry that speaks for you.
Yeah.
Right? It's present, and you don't even have to say a word.
Yeah,
And
it's
everybody,
elegant, and it's shining, and it's magnetic, and it happens by itself. You know what I mean, maybe that's why we chose with my husband a different way of relating to each other. Like, we don't spend whole year together.
Right.
He stays in Turkey for a couple of months. I stay in London, UK, and it's kind of like when we meet and spend a couple of weeks together, or maybe a couple of months together, it's kind of like our space where I can be more feminine. But when I'm alone in London, like, in business, I'm fully focused and fully, and it's like what I came to realize is when I'm full on with business, because business and creating wealth is one of my values, I'm just too much in that male energy,
Right.
and it's not affecting our relationship in a good way.
That's
When I'm
right.
home, and when I'm in that business energy and
That's
outward
right.
and speaking,
Yes.
it's just it's kind of like, it is literally like two males in the house.
Yes.
And it's we kind of like found a way, when I'm with him or when he's around,
Yes.
I tend to become more feminine. I
Yes.
work less.
Yes.
I spend more time cooking,
Yes.
being at home, and I'm of course privileged to be able to do that.
Yes.
But it's like that's my formula, because I find it hard to switch in between.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that's me.
I
And
love
maybe
that.
other women can do, but it's like
I
when
love
I'm
it.
full on in my
Yes.
business,
Yes.
mind, let me say, it just needs a couple of weeks, sometimes a couple of months
Yes.
for me to finish some tasks and
Yes.
bam, bam, bam.
Yes.
And then
Then you
I'm
can
again.
rest. Yes. I call that relationship by design. And I think more people need to start thinking of relationships like that.
More authentic. I mean,
Right.
like there is no
Yeah.
way of relating with each other, and everybody I think
Yes.
deserves to experience what they love.
They
and he
love,
loves
yeah.
Turkey. He likes being there
Yeah.
by the seaside.
Yeah.
I love UK, London.
Yeah.
I'm here with my two daughters.
Yes.
Here, there. He's there with friends and family, his
Yes.
mom, brothers, and
Yes.
all that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like in relationships, maybe that's
That's
the way to
powerful.
go. Just finding your
That's
authentic
powerful.
way of relating. That's at least how we manage.
Yes.
You know?
And you'll be married forever at that rate.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think one of the things we're pushing against is, I remember saying to my sister, I think I'd like to have my own bedroom.
Yeah, I do have my own bedroom.
I was like, even if we have like,
my own
I like to have
bedroom.
a home where he's got his own bedroom and I got. She's horrified. She's a little bit older than me. She's like, oh my God, that is not marriage. I was like, by whose definition?
says?
Exactly. And it's
And we do have our separate bedrooms.
there you go.
Like, we do.
And people would think, oh, there's
I
no
like-
passion in that.
I
There's
like
oh my
sleeping alone.
gosh, that's amazing, right?
Yeah, I like
I
sleeping
I
alone.
want to see more people design their relationships around their authenticity, like you said. And I think that this is the new age of relationships. Do we have to sleep in the same bed? Do we have to even live in the same house? I have couples who live next door to each other, and they'll be married forever.
Love it. Yes.
Just, can we give ourselves permission to create a relationship that is healthy, that honors both of us, and will actually last forever because it's designed around the two of us? It doesn't
And
have
we're both
to.
happy.
And we're both happy. And the people who we've invited into this relationship, our children, if we have them, because again, you don't have to have children, right?
Exactly.
So if the people that we have invited in, whether it's from I'm divorced, so whether it's my son in this situation, are they facilitated as well in a way that serves everybody, but mainly the both of us, because we're the ones in it. So this is why I really feel that giving ourselves permission, and a lot of what work I do with a lot of the girls is they're still stuck on what should be, right?
Yeah, the conditioning.
On
makes
the
it-
conditioning. Even when I speak to women who are highly successful, they have to have a really successful guy, but they don't. I had a girl in one of my groups yesterday, and she's she's a doctor, she's very successful, and she's met this man, and he is a blue collar guy, but he takes her breath away. He's just, she can't, he's just, she wants to be around him. He treats her so beautifully. She's so happy, but she was stuck. But he doesn't
the idea
work.
of who she should be with.
Yeah. She had this
that's
rigid idea
Yeah.
of who she's supposed to be with. She's
We women do
supposed
that,
to.
right?
Yes, we do it because we so want to please. And it happens so much in my work. Another girl had the same situation. She's now so happy with him because he didn't look right. She loves him. She adores him. She finds him sexy. But Chengi, I've got a hard time about bringing him around my family and my friends. I don't want them thinking. Exactly. The conditioning, what we're supposed to have, who we're supposed to be with.
Yeah,
That's a big
the
deal.
Conditioning, that's a big deal. And also, like you said, the whole conditioning around how the relationship would be. And I think, in my experience and opinion, I think that's the first thing why relationships fail, because people, because they're in a relationship, people tend to do things they don't fully like and enjoy. And that's such a pity. It's like, I think two people who truly love each other should be able to tell each other, no, I don't want to do this.
That's
like, I want to go to theater, and my husband is, no, I don't want to go to theater. Okay,
Bye.
And then he's like, I will walk, 5 miles in the morning, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Okay, so and he's like, I love my country, and I'm getting older, and I would like to spend more time there. And I'm like, okay, I don't.
Yeah,
I would like to spend more time here in London. So
yes.
I mean, we are individuals. We are here to. I
Yes.
think we sometimes forget we are here to be happy and feel happy. And
Yes.
yeah, that's the Yeah.
And then we've got something to actually give to each other.
Yeah,
Joy.
exactly. Many creators build audiences but struggle to turn that into sustainable businesses. How is your approach to that transition? Because you did create a great business, and also you're earning money, and you created a sustainable business model.
Oh, you know, I kind of did not plan on it, so I was kind of caught I was caught in it by accident. Because I didn't plan on, I didn't even know you could make a business out of creating. I really started doing what I did because I wanted to be a girl's girl. I wanted to, because I was terrible. I had no idea. I was definitely in that masculine. I was that girl. And so I kept losing all the guys that I was attracted to and all the things. So I really just wanted to help other girls out. But so I had to learn to do relationship. I had to learn to do relationship. Then I started to teach and help. And then it was the people who started calling me. Can you coach us? Do you coach? Can you help us?
It happened naturally.
Yes,
Beautiful.
right.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to turn my head I had to learn the business kind of midway, which was quite traumatic. At first it was like, really? Okay. I can coach you. And I remember thinking, this is how much I'm going to charge. And I thought nobody would pay it. And they were paying it. I was like, oh my gosh, and it's really spiraled to a point where I had to leave my job. And then what was I going to do? I didn't know what to do. So I had to hire someone. I had to hire a coach, a business coach at the time, who was able to help me structure it into more of a business and a coaching practice. And that's just how we kept doing it. We just kept building I kept building with support. Thank goodness I had that mindset to hire somebody, because I'd still be, and I still do that. I've hired another coach now because I want to scale. So getting that support and help. And I think a lot of creators, if they don't understand, make the pivot. And I think a lot of creators now started as a business. I think they're smarter because I think now there's so much information about it, so they can start strong, whereas I really didn't know. So like every business, you have your ups and downs and your changes and all the things, but that's how I did that.
Wow. And what's interesting is there probably was a moment in your life when you understood that relationships were not about luck, but about patterns.
Yes.
And you're actually talking about those patterns.
Yes.
And helping women learn about those patterns, and also teaching them how to build strong relationships.
Right.
When did that happen? When did you start seeing that?
It's really good. That question is so good. I think it's when I started, because again, I didn't plan on it. So I had to learn as I went along and observe. And I'm just one of these people, I'm really observant, and I'm a watcher, and I'm a learner. And I observed that there was something happening in all of my clients, because when I started, it was more giving them strategy, right? Say this, do this, wear that. Don't say that, do that. Don't answer that, answer this way. I still do it. I have so much fun. I talk to so many men around the world, they don't even know it's me, right? But it was kind of helping them, and they would get the results, but something would make them sabotage. Something else was happening under the surface, or they would have the strategy, but they would struggle to act it out. So there would be fears that would show up, and I just couldn't do it. Chengi, I froze. Or I can't let this man go. I know you said and you've pointed, but I just can't. So I noticed that there was something happening internally, and that's when I got really curious. And I was like, what is happening?
What's going on here?
Internally? Yeah, because we've got you moving in the feminine. We've got you saying and doing all the right things. The men are responding to the systems, to the strategy.
Men are physical.
Yes.
So it's like because they don't like us, because they are not that, they don't have that depth of emotional depth, let me say.
Yes.
They are more on the surface and on the more physical. So when you do the right thing physically, you can attract.
They will respond.
They will respond. But then the question is, are you happy?
Yes.
And are you fulfilled inside? Because if you're not fulfilled, then there will be a pattern blocking them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a stories of women saying, I don't feel like it's me. I feel like I'm having to. So I had to do the deep dive. I had to, and at that time there wasn't all this information that there is because, I've been doing this 15 years. We weren't really, there were one or two few people and not enough books. So I did a lot of digging and a lot of conversations. And that's when I realized that there were there was trauma, that people carried core wounds, that those wounds gave them coping mechanisms, rewired their brain in a certain way, made their nervous system respond in a certain way. So I could give strategy, but it would almost feel like inauthenticity. So I turned
because the
my
problem
work,
is deeper.
Yes, and then my work became about healing wounds, regulating nervous systems, then layering strategy over. Because if you can do that, then we get to the real you. If I could help you find you, your authentic, true self, then we can put strategy on that. Then I got success.
Strategy alone doesn't work.
It's not, no. And that's what's going on the internet. A lot of people have a lot of strategy, but they don't know how to deal with their patterns.
Yeah, maybe that's the biggest reason why successful women are having a hard time, because they're just after the strategy. They think you just have a strategy and then done.
Yes.
But it's just there's a pattern there, an emotional pattern, and there are wounds, like you said, childhood wounds, and I think our relationship with our parents, 100%. Our dad, our mother, our siblings, they all play a huge part in relationships, because 100%. We reflect what we experienced, and 100%. Before healing those, all of those, not even your past relationships, your relationships with your mom, with your dad, with your siblings.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So it needs deep work.
Deep work.
And if, like anyone watching us right now, if someone is struggling in love right now, what's the hardest truth they might need to face?
I'm going to say this. You did say hard, so I can say it. You are the problem. And that for me is very empowering. When somebody says to me, Chengi, you're the problem, that's empowering, because I can do something about me. I can't do something about you.
I'm in
right.
Control.
And me being the problem doesn't mean the things that are happening to me are not happening to me, but I am the curator and the creator of my world. So what I allow is allowed. What is disallowed is disallowed. So why am I allowing it? Why am I entertaining it? Why am I not asking for more? Why am I not asking for my needs to be met? What are the areas I don't feel worthy? Because all of those things are creating my world. And if I carry all of those wounds internally, I don't vibrate at the frequency of love, the love that I want. And then I have difficulty navigating relationship, right? So when I say you are the problem, I mean everything that you want, think, and desire lives on the inside of you. And this is something that you were speaking about at your event. Love it, love it, love it. Just this creativity that we're built to create. We are feminine. We are creative beings. We are connected. I see it as co-laboring with God, because we have these wombs that attach to the unseen, and they bring the unseen into the seen. We have this divine power and energy. And as a result of that, if I'm not creating what I want, I am actually creating what I have. So when I say you are the problem, then that means stop blaming the world, stop hating men, stop labeling, silence the noise, silence the opinions. Let's go within and figure out what's going on. And what successful women have over unsuccessful women is the following. They have the money to pay for the help. It's sad, but it's true, right? Because you've worked so hard, you've created this empire, you've created this life, so that you can afford to get the kind of help that you need.
Exactly.
Right.
That's enlightening. And also, like, saying I am the problem, like this world is my reflection. That itself is empowering. Because then if I transform, everything transforms. And that's kind of like the first stepping stone of self-mastery. then you can master your life. You can govern all
100%.
areas of life. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other question would be, that's a popular topic, and people, I see a lot of videos and a lot of experts talking about that, and I tend to speak about that as well often in my community. Why do people keep attracting the same type of partner over and over again? What's your
Because it's familiar.
yeah?
So it's
Okay.
back to those patterns and back to those wounds. Our subconscious mind is always going to prefer a familiar hell to an unfamiliar heaven. We will always go for what's familiar, the pattern.
Yeah, familiar hell.
That familiar hell, we like that. Even though we know it's going to hurt, we know it because the subconscious mind believes that what is familiar is safe. Because, and if it's safe, then it's going to keep us alive. It's going to keep us going. So, and it doesn't really care much because subconscious mind is wired for survival, not for thriving, not for happiness. There's that hard wiring for you to survive. And it takes in the patterns of your childhood and the conditions of your childhood. So if you grew up with a father that beat your mother, that normalizes to you. That becomes your definition of love. That becomes your definition of relationship. It's familiar. You are being traumatized by it, but it is still familiar. So your brain is going to tell you, well, that's familiar, so it must be safe. And guess what? We know how to navigate violence. So we've got these tools. Either we just let it happen, or we fight back, or we all these tools that we gave you as a child that you can use now. And so I always say to clients, you know, I can put 10 men in a room and they're all what you should have, all of them, financially, emotionally, whatever you should have or want, everything you want. But I'm going to put one guy in there that is familiar to your pattern. He's dangerous to you, right? You will choose him and you won't know why, because we have this filter in our brain through the reticular activating system. I'm sure you know it. And what it does is it will pull out what is familiar from any environment. So there'll be something in the micro expressions of that man, something in his tone, because we're all frequencies, right? And within that frequency, you're going to pick up on certain things in that particular guy. And you're going to say to me, Chengi, I like all 10 guys, but there's something about number 7.
Yeah, because we have memories. They're in our brain. They exist. We have episodic memories. We have memories, you know, and that's why we pick that.
We can pick him. We are so good at picking our pattern. And so we will pick him, and our brains will tell us, okay, he's safe, we understand him, we know how to deal with him. So even a man who can love you and cherish you can feel like a threat to a woman who's never been loved that way, who's never been seen in that way. And something I see a lot in my practice as well is women pushing away, finding, you know, reasons. I had one girl saying, you know, I think he might belong to a cult. I was like, why? He has this ring and it's like got this. I was like, okay, we need to do some work. Okay. Because she was so happy. So he presented a threat because her pattern, because he's not familiar to her pattern. So part of it is learning what your patterns are. What you have to, it's easy because it's not easy, but with the help of somebody who knows what they're doing, you can actually pick out those patterns, starting from, like you said earlier, your mother, your father, your sisters, the siblings. There are patterns in there. And if the person really knows what they're doing, they can match the patterns to your history. And I can show you this, and that. That's your pattern. So you're always going to go for that.
Yeah. If the man, for example, if your dad was aggressive in any way, if the man isn't aggressive in some form, you think that's not.
He's not. He's not man enough. Or
Yeah.
He's not somehow, you know, masculine or you know. And you will probably mirror your mother. You know, and we will always pursue the love of the one we didn't get enough love from. So if, you know, in my case, it was my mother. So I dated my mother a lot because she was the parent that didn't give me the love in the way that I needed it. She loved me in the way she knew how to love. But the way I needed to receive love, my mom was not able to give that to me because she was broken herself. So I only dated men who reflected my mom. So you will always seek out until you heal and understand the men that the love that reflects the parent that didn't quite give you what you needed, because the brain is always trying to finish and complete and bring balance. So we couldn't get mommy to love us the way we wanted. We'll get John to do that.
Yeah.
So he will come in the form of your preferred,
Sure, exactly.
but it will still be that
The
relationship.
question would be, how do we crack that pattern?
I say that
Of course, it's not easy.
Yes, of course. There isn't a formula, but this is what I would, how I would go around it. I would first understand it. I would understand first, because like with Alcoholics Anonymous, you have to first say I'm an alcoholic, right? You have to
First recognize
yes, bring it out from the conscious to the conscious mind, because the conscious mind is where everything is processed, is where everything is healed, right? Because whilst the unconscious mind is 30,000 times more stronger than the conscious mind, the prefrontal cortex, the conscious mind has more power to change things, to heal things, to break things down. So the most important thing is to take unconscious patterns and their belief systems, because they're always held together by a really strong unconscious belief, into the conscious mind. When they become conscious, then we have to disrupt those patterns, right? And give you a new set of patterns and get you practicing and rehearsing those new patterns for a certain period of time through multiple things. Affirmations are useful, but talking through repatterning, rethinking, and other tools, but bringing it into the conscious is where the win is, right? Because what you can't see, you can't heal. It will just keep controlling you. Because like I always say, some things you will never heal because you were broken too long. But I have things that I'm still healing 20 years in, right? Sure. But if you become aware of them, you do two very, very powerful things. I can inform you. I can say, Nevşah, I have this thing when I meet a friend that I'm like so friendly, but then I'm going to pull away at some point. And when I do that, it's not personal. That's just me. Yeah, that's just me. I'll be back. Right. Then I have the power to connect with you properly, because now you'll be like, oh, she told me she does this, and she told me what I would need to do, or just ping me now. If I haven't heard from you, ping me and say hi. So we can educate other people on how to live around our wounds, and we can reassure them that I'm working on it. And I may never, but can you live with that? Can you live with a friend that does that? And we can do that in our romantic relationship. So if we can't heal it straight away, or because you've been broken, I say to my clients, longer than you are healing, then be aware of it and educate the people you love. Let them know how you are as a person.
In my community, I work with women most of the time, and in my community, I hear more and more about men losing interest in physical attraction to the woman. And of course, there are two sides of the story. When it comes to women, it's also something, they did, something they said, their energy, and there's something on the male as well. So what's happening there?
This is quite common. Okay, so let's start with men love women that love themselves, right? Men adore women that love themselves, because as long as you are inward facing, so this is the example I give, right? When a man walks in and is like, your husband's like, oh, look at my Nevşah, right? She does her hair, she does her nails, she's always taking care of herself, right? She's always looking after Nevşah. She goes to the gym, she looks after herself. And then a husband is like, oh, look at my baby girl. Okay, why? Is it because you took care of him? Or you took care of yourself, right? So what happens is, because of these wounds and I need to perform for love, right? Because I need to work really hard in my business to get that money. I have to perform for love. Now that he's chosen me and he's excited, he chose you when you were just
yourself,
passive, taking care of you, loving you,
not on him,
right? It was about you. So he was like, oh, okay, and then because that wound kicks in, now you make it about him. Then now he's unattracted to you. And then because he doesn't even know why this is happening. He just thinks I'm bored.
Do you think women, as women, we have the power? I mean, that's what I wrote in my book, but we have the power to shift perceptions of people, because we are like women. We are visionaries, and our minds are very powerful. And because of our spiritual power, because of our creative power, we don't sometimes realize, but we are the ones who are governing, the the world, actually. If in my consciousness I am more conscious about him, if I make him number one and myself number two, I already created,
Yes.
he perceives himself as number one
Yes.
and me as number two, like
Yes.
below him.
Yes.
If I'm focused on myself,
yes.
and if I'm number one, if my consciousness is like, if my focus and my attention, because
Yes.
my power goes to, my creative power goes to where I'm focusing on. If I'm focusing on myself,
Yes.
this, like in our world,
Yes.
I am number one.
Yes.
Do you think that's kind of like the secret? Because I tend to
That
think
is the secret.
yeah.
That is absolutely the
Focusing
secret.
on ourselves,
Focusing
then I'm
on
like,
yourself.
I'm the value here.
Yes.
So then I'm the queen bee.
Yes.
And he's just one of the bees
Yes.
around me.
And it's not about narcissism, because somebody can hear that.
No.
We know what
No.
we're saying, but it's not about him not mattering. It's
No.
understanding that. So this is the analogy
It's
I
just
give.
focusing on yourself,
Yes.
not him.
Absolutely.
Because we tend to focus on
Exactly.
them
And
a
that's what
lot,
makes
yeah.
him leave. So I give the example, for instance, of a tree.
Mm-hmm.
The feminine is a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to be watered. She has to take all the carbon dioxide from the air. She must always receive. The tree
Yeah.
always receives.
Yeah.
Why though? So it can bear fruit. So it can
Yeah.
create beautiful leaves,
Yeah.
shade, place for the birds to perch and people to sit and enjoy the
Yeah.
shade on a sunny day, food and fruit, right? It's that energy of, as long as, and she has to go deep into the soil and take the nutrients.
Yeah.
So we must always be in receiving, always be looking after ourselves. And by default, the man is taken care of. Because the feminine woman, the children are taking the world just by being fruitful and taking in. And so when the man, when we start giving and we stop watering ourselves and stop taking what we need from the environment, when we stop feeding our energy, then our branches fall off, right?
Yes.
And we start to wither and we start to, and then our shade is no longer shade anymore.
No.
And people, birds, everything will start to move away from us, right?
Yeah, but
So
when we
it's that-
take care of ourselves and when we focus on ourselves, we are fruitful. We start serving
Yes.
from inside out.
Yes.
Yeah, just by nature.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. How much attraction is actually conscious versus deeply conditioned when we are attracted to someone?
That's such a good question. I would say 80% is unconscious until you do the work and you become conscious of what you find attractive and why and all the things. But when you are not conscious, when you're not in your awareness, I would say about 80% of it. 80% consisting of our patterns, our conditioning, our culture, and the world
I would say
around
90%.
us. I wouldn't disagree. I would say about that.
Yeah.
I would. You're not
if you're
far.
not conscious. And if we are
Yeah.
conscious, I think it's still like maybe 30, 40%, even though when
Yes.
you're conscious, but
Yes.
you're conscious and it's manageable. No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that
Crazy.
awareness and that consciousness, and of course there are levels of consciousness, as you know,
Yeah.
but at least if you're somewhat conscious, you can say, I like a bit of toxicity. I know.
This is like attraction.
You're safer when you're conscious.
manageable.
But I would agree with you between that 90% for an unconscious person, and then it varies for sure.
And what are the most common, when you work with your clients, what are the most common unconscious patterns that sabotage relationships?
Unconscious.
Are these the patterns you said?
Yes.
Like learned habits.
Yes, because when I date mom, if for instance in my scenario, when I date mom, now I want to change her into the mother I always wanted. Right? When I date dad, the dad I didn't have, or the dad that was traumatic, now I want to change him into the dad that I always wanted. And then what we do is we get into a relationship and become controlling. And that's the worst thing you can do in a relationship, from the feminine anyway. And that is the main sabotage pattern, is now that I've got you to choose me in a way that I didn't get that parent or that caregiver to choose me, I'm going to start changing you. And that is the worst thing, both ways, men and women. If I try to change you, I haven't chosen you.
That's
I've
great.
chosen the idea in my
Idea.
head.
Yeah.
And if I don't choose you, eventually you are going to resent me.
Yeah.
Because so then you get the the resentment in the relationship,
Yeah,
which is one
everybody
of the
deserves to be loved the way they are.
yes, exactly.
And
Right.
if we're trying to change them, we're not loving them the way they are. And that there is
exactly.
no love anyway.
No.
It's like I usually say, you can't, I think
No.
that's in the book as well. You can't love what you judge.
Right. Love that.
Yeah.
See, I told you I'm going to read that book on the way to Turkey.
And to summarize what you said, I took a note.
Okay.
Your type is not your type, it's your pattern.
It is.
It is your pattern. And that's
Yes.
what that's why people say I always end up with the wrong person.
Yeah.
That's just your pattern.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
If you don't do the work, if you don't work,
Yeah.
on yourself and get conscious, like you
Yes.
said. Yeah. I would like to talk a little bit about dating apps because I haven't ever
Yes.
used a dating app.
I can imagine you don't need to.
Because no, I'm from the older generation, and
Right.
also I didn't have to. I'm coming from an older generation, and I was married, when
Right.
the apps,
Right.
So it's like I haven't
You
had the
missed that
chance.
wave, yeah.
I missed that wave, but I hear more and more often from my friends' children mostly,
Right.
like couples marrying who mate on a date app and
Right.
having great relationships. So having date apps made relationships easier,
Mhm.
but did it make the relationships better or worse, or the connection harder? Because I also hear, like, I met with 50 people, I could connect with only one.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion with dating apps? And
I think they're a great tool, right? And with every tool, you need to know how to use it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I think what happened, because I can speak of the dating apps because I got divorced around the time that it wasn't apps then, it was internet dating on the laptop,
okay,
which was so much better because you
Yeah.
had to, and there were fewer, I think it
And
was
you
like
met-
Match.com, just a
Yeah.
few. And so you had to literally type your profile and you had to have conversations. So those were the golden years, I think, of internet dating because you just met people who were intentional.
yeah,
It was just, fantastic. That's when I had my best dating moments. Then the apps happened and they turned connection into something a little bit
Numbers.
more, into numbers. And we have to be honest, right? And this is us going back because I'm a big girl as well, okay? In nature, we're not naturally going to meet that many people. So growing up, I grew up in Zimbabwe and there was the telephone that you had to ring. So because I'm 48, so, we're going back. And you had to kind of ring the phone and the travel was not something big. Internet was not something. So you only really had about 3 boys in your whole lifetime to choose from.
yeah.
The guy up the road, the one at school, and the other cousin, a friend of your cousin,
Yeah.
who would somehow connect because you lived in your neighborhoods, you had
Yeah,
your little
yeah.
town, and you weren't flying left, right, and center. You weren't on the internet. And so if you didn't kind of meet somebody in that organic way, but women would have had, and maybe if you're the belle of the street, the one everybody wants, maybe you had 10 options, But one of them would do. And you would go along and find life because options and choices actually are not good for us as humans. The fewer, the better.
Yeah.
So, what happens is people, that is really how we should be dating. We shouldn't really have as many options as we do. And when we do, we get confused. When we do, we give ourselves the perception that there's more than there actually is. And with that being said, I don't want women to get into a scarcity mindset. There is an abundance, but abundance in relationships isn't about numbers.
No.
It's about quality of what you attract, right? We want to attract quality and we will attract what we are within, right? So we want to upgrade ourselves and attract quality. But in a woman's lifetime, in real life, you're only going to meet about 5, 6 viable, if you're lucky, men, okay? Dating apps gave us the impression that we're going to meet more. So we have too much, now we have pride instead of,
Yeah, I have other options.
Yeah,
That's not
I'm not gonna. I had a reel on my Instagram where I was talking about reclaiming love that you may have messed up, and it's kind of say these things to reconnect with maybe a lost love that he was a good guy, but maybe you messed it up or you didn't, you know. And on that is so popular because obviously people have lost love. But there were some comments on there like, I would never do this. And I'm not advocating for it. But we've become so flippant because
Arrogant.
arrogant.
I see the arrogance.
We don't, I would never, and I would just cut him. If he doesn't do this, I'll cut him. If she doesn't do this,
And
I'll
I think
cut
we
her.
lost, not to cut your sentence, but I think we, the generation now has lost sense of human connection and soul to soul, because it's like you don't find soul to soul connections every day. Wake up. So even though you have 1 million, you're gonna have only one individual who have that deep connection, and because it's not live, I think they lost it. It's like I remember when I was a teenage girl, I lived in a big city, Izmir, the west coast of Turkey, and people knew each other, and we had regular parties where we would meet people. So for example, in the party I would probably meet 5 to 10, maybe 12 handsome guys or whatever. It would take us another maybe 2 months to be able to speak with each other, because then you meet again at another party. First you have the eye contact, you say hi, and then the second way you say so it's like it took a long time, and because you physically were with the group, you knew who you knew their energy, and you know it's kind of like that soulful relationships had a chance to build. And I think there is a misconception right now where like young generation think all of the, like, for men and women, all of the boys are the same and all of the girls, they're not.
No.
Even if you met 1 million, there's gonna be one which is the most special, and second which is special. It's like it's not about the numbers, it's about your soul full connection, maybe kind of like what's meant to happen. And 100%. I think apps, that's what I find that might be the drawbacks.
Apps give people that impression. However, you can use them really well. I would say 98% of my brides and my clients who get married met their partners on an app.
How?
I know.
Because I don't know. It's,
right.
How?
So curating.
There might be some women. And
right.
some men
Let me
watching.
give you some game, girls. Watching. Okay. It's about curating your profile. So
precisely,
you have to be precise. So this is when you've done that inner work and you know yourself. Then you have to understand that a picture is worth 1,000 words. How can you pictorially take the inside of yourself and pictorially put it out there? So for me, for instance, if I'm on an app, I'm super glam sometimes. So if he's going to deal with me, he has to deal with a girl that likes to glam it up and be like, okay. So I'm going to put her there in a situation like this, for instance, right? Where he can, she, this is what she does. And I'm going to give him a lifestyle. And then I'm also on the other opposite, where I can spend the whole day in pajamas and I don't care, right? I'm also a homebody. I don't like to go out. I like to stay in. I like to read books. I like to use the gym. I like a very quiet hermit life. If I could live in the middle of the forest, I would. And then I like to come out. So I'm this weird personality that you can't put me in a box, right? So what I want to do is communicate that with my pictures and with the way I write things. So, I help women write. I'm going to write my profile. I'm every woman, right? Because I want him to know that you can't pigeonhole me. And so I'm going to choose the right picture. So we do a lot of that in my groups. Like, give me your pictures. I want to see your images. And I'm going to curate it because I'm very clear what I want men to see. Because I want men to see it and deselect themselves very quickly. I want to be rejected. That's actually the goal, right? I want as many men to say, oh, not for me, as possible, because that will call in the one I really want. And then the other part, the other half, is learning to understand what profiles are telling you. Teaching women, what does it mean when you see a man without a shirt? Pass. If you're looking for a relationship, pass. Right? If he's lying on the bed, pass. If he's taking, pass. So giving women, when he says this, I've got a reel on my Instagram right now giving 12 things men say.
Signals.
Right? Signals. Know them. So once you understand the tool and you know who not to entertain, and
I mean, if
really,
you're after a relationship, I mean,
if you're
people
after a
are, if people
relationship,
are only, I mean, I know some people who are
yes,
after just one night stands and
right,
only the
then you don't
sex and
need me,
everything.
right? You
Yeah,
don't
you're
need
just,
help with that.
yeah,
You're a woman,
you're,
you'll always get
yeah,
somebody to,
yeah, yeah.
to sleep with you. But for sure, if you're looking for a relationship, so it's a two-way street. You have to present the way that you want for the man that you're trying to attract and to be truly authentic. And you have to know what to look for in him. If you can
Yeah.
master those two, and master conversation and flirting.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's been almost an hour. Can you imagine? Time
Wow, I
flipped.
know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm going to ask you a couple of last questions.
Sure.
I'm sure people who are listening and watching are asking the same thing. What actually defines a high quality, healthy relationship beyond chemistry?
I would say that we want safety. We want compatibility in terms of shared vision, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody with a growth mindset. Can we
Mm-hmm.
grow together?
Mm-hmm.
Are we safe? Because the other stuff will naturally fall away. The the sex life that's
It's
amazing, it will become normal.
yeah.
Right? Because the brain will normalize everything that's
Mm-hmm.
exciting, because otherwise life will never. So do I like you? And I think a lot of people don't ask that question. Do I like you? If I
As a
didn't
human
fancy
being.
you,
Mm.
would I like you? Would I like to spend time with you?
Do I like you as a
Do I
human
like you
being?
as a human being?
Would you be our friend? Would
Would we
he
be
be your friend?
friends?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that is a fantastic foundation for long-term relationship. If you're looking for long-term relationship, is this the person that I can have a giggle with, a laugh with? And like you said, with you and your husband, is this somebody who would totally get me if I said I wanted to live in London and you
Yeah,
live, like, would they totally get, or they
yeah,
think I'm crazy, right? So I always say, who can you be your best self with, your most authentic self with?
yeah,
That's the best
yeah.
formula.
I tell my two daughters make love with people, with guys you fancy and
Yeah.
you're excited about,
Yes.
but marry your friend.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And if you can
marry
get
someone
both,
who
yay.
truly values you and who doesn't want to change you
Yes.
and who's not up or down
Yes.
about you. Like, yeah,
Yes.
friend. Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Somebody who
Yeah.
likes you and you like them.
Yeah, yeah. And what are the skills people need to build right now to have a strong relationship?
First, the most important thing is selection.
Selection.
90% of relationships is selection, right? Which is
Hmm.
part of all that we've been discussing here.
So just selecting and just leaving behind everything that doesn't belong to me,
Yeah, let it
kind of.
go.
Yeah.
Change your mindset from I need to be chosen by a lot of people to I simply need to choose one person who chooses me back.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we won't need to do all the big performances, right? So selection being, if we can start right, the foundations are everything, right? What I have is when I have people whose relationships have broken, right? 25 years in marriage and what's happening, and they come to me, or we've been married for 15 years and right? Because I get those. I will always first ask you how you met. I want to know your foundations,
Mm.
because they will tell me the dynamic you set in motion.
Yeah.
The dynamics, how they have corrupted the rest of the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So then we can go back and reset the foundations. That is very painful. That is very hard. It's very difficult. It's very painful, right? But one person can change the whole dynamic,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Especially if it's the woman.
Exactly.
No? Yeah.
Exactly. But it can be difficult. So I always say, that's why I love working with people who are dating, because what I'm here to do is set your foundations right. So what you want to do as a dating person is get rid of desperation,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of entitlement, get an education, treat your love life the way you do your career, treat it the way you do your business. You would have never embarked on your business without doing any kind of education, any kind of work, any kind of research. Treat it like that.
Yeah,
Quiet the
yeah.
noise. Choose somebody whose voice you value and trust. It doesn't matter who it is. If I value your voice and I trust your narrative about relationships, choose that person.
Yeah.
Get deep and let them educate you. And then you have set yourself up to be, I say to my girls, they're already 95% ahead of the curve just by knowing what they know.
Yeah.
right? And then the rest, they're going to have to muddle like everybody else. But once you treat it like it's important, because listen, relationships are life. They're everything.
Yeah, everything.
The quality of your health, the quality of your happiness,
Yeah,
your mental
yeah.
health is based on the quality of your relationships.
True.
You
True.
are the people don't, careers, all these things are great, but it's the relationships. Even as a business person like yourself, you've got to like your team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get the wrong person and it can mess up the whole business.
Yeah,
or
the whole house can be
it can,
hell.
right. So even in business, we're still trying to get the right relationships in. So take it seriously. I think we have a very flippant, casual approach to how we do relationships.
We need more research, more work, and understand it needs work.
Yeah.
It's not nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, it needs work, it needs focus, it needs time, energy, thinking through, deep thinking, and investment of years.
Yes. Time.
Yeah, time.
Thank
Everybody
you, wants it so
thank
quickly.
You. Yeah, thank you. I think this was the best last message I have heard in a long time. Thank you, Chengi. It was lovely having you here.
Me. It was
I
great.
enjoyed every moment of our conversation. I learned a lot. I'm sure our listeners and anybody who's watching us on YouTube also learned a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope so too.
And thank you too. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.